Obviously another big fight for you. I guess how redeeming is it knowing that despite the last one not going your way, here you are, 5-round fight against a former champion?
Yeah, I think it shows how much I've proved myself, in the UFC and like the short amount of time I have been here. I did lose my last fight, but I've had a lot of great performances before then. And even my last fight, I went 5 rounds, and it was a tough fight. We had a lot of back and forth. So it feels really good to still be in fighting someone in the top 5, still be in that title picture.
Yeah, and you're obviously still very young, so someone in your position could maybe have that loss and it could do something negative to them. It seems like it's been positive for you. So how did you ultimately find that positive path?
Yeah, I think it's just from competing my whole life. Like, I've grown up competing since I was like 8 years old. You win a lot, you lose a lot, and it's something you always have to learn from and grow from. Not take it too hard, not harp on it too much. I think people kind of really get down on themselves. Honestly, it's a sport at the end of the day, and you have to treat it like how kids would. Like, you just like get up and go back to training and focus on the things that you need to improve on. And I think I had a lot of time after that fight to do that, and time to just train, not have a fight, and then finally get a fight and have a camp and feel really good.
Rose stumbled in her debut in the division, but it's been solid since then. I guess what have you made of the 125-pound version of her compared to what she was at strawweight?
Yeah, I feel like you can see her adjusting to the weight class. I think moving up to 125 is a pretty big jump. 10 pounds doesn't sound like a lot, but every weight class makes a pretty big difference, like the size of the girls, the strength that they have, the power that they can take, like striking-wise and things like that. I think she's adjusted pretty well. I think obviously at 115 she's had some really great performances that maybe you haven't seen at 125. And I think that's kind of a size thing, but she's always been a dangerous fighter, so I think at 25 she's holding her own.
Do you think the strength will be a big advantage for you in this fight, though?
I think being a natural 125 or someone that I don't think I could ever make 115, being able to make 25 is the lowest I'll be getting. So I think that's definitely an advantage, just that natural size. I think that strength's going to be there.
And after doing 5 rounds last time, how does it change your confidence just knowing that you've already been through it and can push hard coming into another attempt at it?
Yeah, I think it gives me a lot of confidence because even though, I lost the fight, I felt great the whole time. I felt like my cardio was there. It's just more of a strategy thing. So it definitely gives me a lot of confidence going into 5 rounds, and I'm excited to have that.
And I know you'd rather be fighting for the title next and stuff, and despite having the loss, but it seems like we did get some clarity with the trilogy kind of playing out now. What do you think happens from here? Do you think it'll be Manon next, and then the winner of this is fighting for that next position?
Definitely, I think Manon's definitely getting the title next, and I think having a really good performance Saturday, like getting a finish over Rose, definitely puts me in that title picture next.
Awesome. And 2 last things, the rule changes are coming into play for this card. What are your thoughts on just 12 to 6 elbows being legal and the change to the grounded opponent? Is that something you take into consideration or will have in the back of your mind during the fight?
Yeah, I think I like the 12 to 6 elbows. I feel like that's something people would accidentally throw. So it's almost like one less thing for the fighters to think about, like obviously including myself. And the grounded opponent, I think it makes it a lot more clear that it has to be some other type of limb, not like, one finger, like weight bearing, like things like that. I think having like a hand and an elbow, hand and a knee, it makes it a lot more clear. So I think it's easier for the fighters to know when they can hit their opponent or not. What's
the next rule change you'd like to see happen in MMA?
Oh, you know what I would actually like? That they did when I was fighting regionally, I like open scoring. I think that would actually be really cool.
Erin, to your right. When this card was announced, you and Rose were actually announced as the main event, and then obviously Moreno and Albazi wound up coming in. But what was communicated to you about the change?
As far as I know, they told me that was going to be the co-main, but that everything was still going to be the same, so it'd still be 5 rounds. That we'd still be able to do everything, basically like a main event, but just right before then.
Was there any disappointment, or does it even make a difference at this point?
I was a little bit at first because I was worried that it'd be 3 rounds, but I'd rather 5 just to get like that experience. But once I knew it was 5 rounds, I wasn't worried, and the poster looks cool. I love having my face on it. So
there you go. We touched on Valentina and probably Manon getting the next title shot. So how do you see that fight playing out?
I think that's been a tough fight. I think Manon, she's a really big girl for the weight class. She knows how to use her range and her size. I think Valentina is a more dynamic fighter. I think she has more skills, but I think Manon just really knows how to use her body type for her style. So I don't know. I can see either girl winning.
After the the fights with Grasso. Do you feel that Valentina has lost some of the mystique she had about her?
I definitely think so. I think that always happens when somebody loses. I think people maybe sometimes like kind of harp on that person too much. Like everyone's human and everybody's beatable. So I don't think she's like obviously a bad fighter or anything like that, but I think it's definitely taken a little of the mystique off. And yeah, I mean, she's still a great fighter. She's definitely getting up there like with age and stuff too. So I guess we'll see how her career goes.
And last one for me, I believe this is the second time you've been fighting out of the U.S., and I think the first was Singapore, so this isn't quite the same amount of travel, but what's it like fighting away from home?
I love traveling for fights. Like I love Singapore and be able to see that country, and I love coming to Canada and be able to see here too. And it wasn't obviously not as far, so the flight wasn't as bad. But I love traveling. I feel like it really gets you into that mindset. You're kind of like away from everything and you really have to dial in.
Is there an advantage to not being at home and getting away from the comforts of home?
Yeah, I think there definitely is, because even when I do fight at home, I always stay at like the hotel that the UFC provides and things like that, just to kind of keep myself more focused. I do love fighting at home, and I think those are obviously all special like moments, but not every time's going to be like that, and it's almost nice that every time's not like that, so it can be special when it happens. But I love fighting either way.
Thank you.
Right here, Erin. Obviously, with your last fight coming off a defeat, was there any takeaways that you took from that fight? Was it a difficult defeat to get over, and did you have to change up much with your game or your training, etc. after that? Yeah,
losing always sucks, and it always takes a little bit getting over, but I didn't harp on it for too long. I feel like I just let my body heal from the fight, and then I was back to training. I feel like me and my coaches watched over it. We found things we wanted to improve on. With my distance management and my striking and my wrestling and everything kind of as I always do. I just kind of focused on that.
You've been thrust in here to a pretty good opportunity against a very well-known fighter in Rose. Like, what does that tell you? I guess it tells that the UFC believes in your ability to put you in a position like this and give yourself an opportunity to make a run for the title again.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I've proven myself in my previous fights. I was on a pretty big win streak with a lot of finishes. Even though I didn't get the win last time, it doesn't diminish all those things that I have done prior. So I know what I'm capable of, and I'm prepared to show that again Saturday.
If we do get that fight between Valentina and Manon, who do you think gets the win there?
I'm not really sure. I feel like both girls have their strengths and weaknesses. I think Manon's size obviously is going to be a huge advantage, and Valentina's game is pretty diverse, so I can see either girl winning.
Jasmine Jastovicius was in here earlier on. She was speaking very highly of your teammate Fatima Klein, who obviously lost to her, but I think she put in a good performance on her UFC debut at short notice. Want to get your thoughts on that fight and if we're going to see her sometime soon.
Oh yeah, I think Fatima did amazing. Considering the circumstances, she moved up a weight class, took it on 10 days notice, in elevation that she had no time to prepare for. And she still went out there and she scrapped super hard. She was rocking her with some of those right hands. But I'm super excited to see her go back to 115, be in her weight class, be prepared, and really show what she has.
Thank you.